Hello and welcome to Beauty In, Beauty Out, or BIBO Foundation here on CAN TV. I am Tracee S. Campbell, the founder of the BIBO Foundation and the BIBO Awards. And thank you for joining us this evening. Now, this week, we're going to be talking all about women in technology, and that's a subject that's pretty near and dear to me as a woman in technology for many years. We're going to talk about some of the challenges that women face in this field. But just to recap last week, I was joined by the amazing Lourdes Colon. She was our 2015 honoree, one of our honorees in 2015 in the LA area, and we had a discussion last week about cancer and how you can battle cancer and heal yourself potentially of cancer the all-natural way. So I strongly encourage you, if that subject really resonated with you and you want to get more information, go over to our website, which we're going to show in just a few minutes, and make sure you get that information. Now, today, once again, we're going to be talking about women in technology, and we're going to talk about some of the struggles that women face. And this also ties into one of our initiatives, the STEM program. If you're not familiar with STEM, it stands for science, technology, engineering, and math. And we have our very own STEM program through the BIBO Foundation to help young women get the firm foundation, the firm footing that they need to survive in the industry of technology. So we're going to be talking all about that. But just before we get to our fantastic guest, who's also an honoree of our BIBO Awards this year in 2017, I want to make sure that you have the information to stay connected to us. And it's really, really easy. All you have to do is go to the bibofoundation.org/on-air. Email is info@thebibofoundation.org, or you can call us at 1-800-365-3203. Now, today, I am excited to be joined by one of our 2017 BIBO Award honorees. We're going to be honoring her and some amazing other ladies on September the 23rd, and I'm excited to have her here with me, the amazing Deborah De Vaughn. Deborah, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I'm excited to have you here. And we have this lovely, yeah, there it is. There it is. Can you guys see it at home? I hope you can. Emmy. This is an actual Emmy, a real Emmy. I'm touching a real Emmy, Deborah.
Yeah,
wow, it's
Oprah's
exciting.
got a couple of those like that too.
And see, and so do you. And so do you. And can you tell us a little bit about why you got this Emmy?
Well, this was for my work as a producer-director on a public affairs program that was shot on behalf, really on behalf of the city. Mm-hmm. It was with Chicago, station that's Cable 25.
Okay.
Okay, and we interviewed Preston Jackson, who is a artist. He's not only a musician, but he's a sculptor and an instructor at the Art Institute.
Wow.
And what he had was a conglomeration of about 36 statues that depicted the relationship between the slaves and the slave owners. Even though it was dysfunctional, it's still a relationship.
Wow.
Over about 4 centuries. And each statue was about 3 feet tall, and they had a story that was behind it. And so what we did was make those stories come to life, not only by showing the statue from various aspects, but also by the audio technology that went behind it. So instead of just hearing someone say something,
right,
it was dramatically spoken. There was music as well as effects, so that you felt like you were by the riverside while the alligator was eating something.
Oh my goodness, my goodness. And so that just goes to show that technology,
that's the whole point. That's the whole
technology,
point.
which is what we're talking about today, can permeate so many different industries.
Exactly.
And
exactly.
This is just phenomenal that you actually won this Emmy, rightfully deserved. But also the fact that now we are tying in technology so much with the arts. Mm-hmm. Technology is permeating everything that we do. And thank you for sharing that story and sharing this beautiful, beautiful trophy with us here today.
Welcome. You're welcome.
Now, Deborah, you and I are kindred spirits in the sense that we are women who basically grew up in technology, made a career in technology, and faced some challenges in that industry, right? So it's not as easy as a lot of people think, and actually it's getting more challenging. And I know you can attest to that. And I know that in your career, and we're going to talk about your career and more about what you've done, but I'm sure that you can attest to it has not been an easy road as a woman and as a woman of color in technology.
I think one of the biggest problems is the assumptions that other people make, and then we make them about ourselves.
Right.
And so
Right.
those are the most dangerous ones, the ones that we make about ourselves. I teach, and when I when I start out, I may have 28 students, 7 of which are girls, and the rest are guys. Okay.
Right.
So with the girls, there's a different way that they think about themselves.
Exactly.
And so because of that, you have to help them connect the dots with regard to them being important and how what they have to contribute is really vital and important.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm glad you brought that up because it is one of the challenges that we as women face in technology is just what has been ingrained in us as females. And this notion that when you think of technology and you think of science, you automatically think male and male dominance. And so I definitely want you guys to take a look at this quick video clip that really paints a great picture of this disparity that we're talking about here between women and men in technology, and it's still prevalent even today. Take a look.
It's an issue that just won't go away. Why aren't there more women in tech? According to the European Commission, for the 7 million people working in the information and communication sector, only 30% are women. The industry is rapidly growing, and supply can't keep up with demand unless more women take up technology-related roles. If we're going to try to rebalance the scales, we dissect the problem. From a young age, girls are discouraged from pursuing science and technology by lingering misconceptions, such as boys being better at maths. And this leads to fewer females pursuing science, maths and IT courses at university level. This imbalance translates into the workplace. In some of the world's biggest tech companies, women are still a minority within the workforce. And yet for those that do make it into the industry, women are more likely to leave within a year than men, citing isolation and lack of support as their reasons. Around the world, there are plenty of initiatives in place that hope to encourage more women into entering tech. And today, female tech leaders have become household names.
All right, everyone. So I think that painted a pretty good picture of what we're dealing with today. We're dealing with a mindset. We're dealing with the fact that even though we are in 2017, we still are very much, we as women are still very much the minority in technological industries and companies. And as the video just pointed out, 45% of us don't even make it past the first year. Deborah, what do you think about that? I mean, I can go on and on about some of the things that I've seen working in various industries in the technology realm and information technology specifically. But what about you? What have you seen in as it relates to that video that we just watched?
Well, one thing I'd like to point out is that the mindset is something that other people have, but what you have in your own head is the most important thing.
Absolutely.
Your personal mindset of who you are. I can tell a couple of stories because back in the day, growing up, good Catholic girl, Catholic grammar school, all-girl Catholic high school, and went to college. So I was in the orchestra when I was in high school, so naturally you do music when you're in college.
Exactly.
Now, how many female musicians are there out there, and how many did not make it?
Exactly. Compared to those that did, and compared to their male counterparts.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly. So I would like to propose that one of the things our children need is to understand how to build their own mindset.
Right.
Because once you have that mindset, no one's going to stop you.
That's right.
I think about the movie Hidden Figures.
Mm-hmm.
Those ladies had a mindset.
Yes, they did.
And they were fixed.
Yes.
And they weren't going to be turned around.
Absolutely.
I think many times that young girls, we so much want to be the nurturer, and so we adapt.
That's right.
And when we adapt, sometimes we allow ourselves to be taken out of our best environment to continue on.
That's right.
I can think of one thing after another, but it usually is me either being the only female, the only black or the only black female.
Right.
Where I have to have a very specific mindset that what they have to say, thank you for sharing, but this is who I am and this is where I'm going.
Exactly, exactly. And I think because we're talking about technology and people think of technology, they think of, ones and zeros. They think of, formulas, and they think of all these things. But just like any other industry, you have to be mentally prepared to deal with the challenges. And I think that's where we're falling apart. We're not preparing our young women to deal with the challenges in technology as we would prepare them to deal with becoming a nurse or, becoming a psychologist. We prepare them a little bit differently than we do with technology. And I don't know why that is, but that's one of the reasons why we are so passionate about STEM education through the BIBO Foundation, because we really want to not only educate them in the constructs of technology and learning all those nifty, fun, exciting formulas and technical things and gadgets and all those great things, but we also want to prepare them from a business perspective. And Deborah, you're doing that. You're doing that with some incredibly talented young people right here in Hyde Park, not far from here in Hyde Park. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Because we actually have a video, everyone, that I want you to see of what Deborah is doing to shape the minds of some of our young people.
Well, first of all, I'm teaching digital media at Hyde Park, and people think of digital media and they have no idea. Let me back up and say that digital media includes the print of communication, it includes web of communication, as well as video and even audio. Mm-hmm. So any way that you're going to communicate, it's included in that.
Wow.
So that's the thing, and I tell my students, I said, this is communication.
Right.
And communicators make the most money.
They do.
Because it's like if you go to a store and there are no labels.
That's right.
What are you going to buy? Mm-hmm. You're not going to wait to open the can up and go, oh, I spent my money on this. This is not what I wanted. The communicator is the one that says, this is what it is, and this is how it relates to you.
Right.
And if you can't do that, you're not a communicator.
That's
and
right.
You have to make sure that that person got the message. I'll tell them, like, if you're throwing a ball, if you're successful, the person caught it. Mm-hmm. It's like, I threw the ball. No, sweetheart, if they didn't catch it, the message has not been received.
That's right.
And so I'll move that over to technology. Mm-hmm. So I remember 9/11. And after 9/11, I was like, oh my God, these guys were taking lessons, taking off, but no one saw them take the lessons to land. Mm-hmm. And so they had not connected the dots. And I'm going to advocate that technology may be the dots. Right. But the artistry and being able to be to apply it is to connect the dots.
That's right.
And so connecting the dots is not only genius, but it's also artistic.
That's right.
And so that's what that's why women are important in technology, because we got those both hemispheres firing off.
And all cylinders, all the time.
Right,
all the time.
That's right.
But that is great, Deborah, because I think as we talk about some of the challenges that women face in technology, we could talk about the politics, and we will get into that in future shows, the politics of it. We can talk about the lack of opportunity. We can talk about the lack of support. A lot of women feel that in technological fields, it's a sink or swim. They don't get the support from their male counterparts that they desire and so forth. But you touched upon something that we rarely talk about in conjunction with each other, and that is the art of communication with technology.
You have to have it.
You have to have it. And I think that that's one of the reasons why some of our young women are feeling the pressure, the challenge, because they're so under enormous pressure to prove themselves from a technical perspective that they are not focused on the art of effective communication and getting their point across and being taken seriously because they are effective communicators. And as you said, women innately have that skill. And if we can learn to channel that skill in technology, I think some of the issues that we see could be effectively eradicated.
Right. And I'll refer back to the movie Hidden Figures. The character that I'm trying to think of the guy that was the boss that finally got it.
Yes.
So why were you gone so long? I had to go to the bathroom.
Right.
You know, and so
She had to go to the bathroom all the way across.
Kevin Costner, he got it.
Yes.
But the girl, they had to be so fixed in their, I'll say it again, mindset.
Right.
And they weren't moved off of their mindset. He got a new mindset.
Yes, he did.
And he supported them.
Yes.
So you're going to have to win folks over. Mm-hmm. I'll tell you a story about how I think I was a junior in high school, and I was invited to Bradley University. Mm-hmm. They were offering, like a half ride for me. Mm-hmm. Not a full ride, but a half ride. And the Tri Delta sorority had invited me to come down and stay with them. So if you see the spelling of my name and you look at my background, you think, I'm not black.
Right.
Excuse me. So I get there and I walk in. It says, I'm here for the junior in high school. I'm here for the Tri-Delta weekend. They told me I could come down and stay with them for the weekend. Just a moment. And they go back. I say, you're Deborah De Vaughn? Yes. They did it 3 times. 3 times. I said, we're going to have to call the BSU. So that instance right there said that you're not going to fit in.
Right.
So young ladies, you're always going to have someone say that you don't fit.
Right.
They're always going to tell you that you don't fit.
That's right.
Because they haven't seen you.
That's
they don't know that you fit.
That's right.
You got to make a space for me. But instead of me persisting and say, well, no, I want to hang out with these girls and find out what's going on, understanding that Katie Couric was Tri-Delta. So that would have been a good group to be with, right?
Oh, yeah.
I'm not going to tell you what decade that was. So it is a long time ago.
We won't put you on the spot. We won't put you on the spot, Deborah. But yes, but that's a good point. It's the combination of communication. It's the combination, as you pointed out earlier, that technology and art do not have to be mutually exclusive. They can't coexist together.
They're not.
And we need to not only educate our young girls in being more confident, being more self-assured, being effective communicators, while we teach them, of course, all the technological things that they need to know if they're going to survive in technology. It kind of goes hand in hand. That video also pointed out something, for example, Sheryl Sandberg, incredible speaker, incredible woman, and she recently lost her husband. And that's not, of course, in the video, but that is another story for another day. My point is that she has made it to the top of technology, working with Facebook. I think she's either the CEO or she's VP over at Facebook. So she's made it high up on the food chain. And she lost her husband. And one thing that I respect about Sheryl Sandberg is that instead of trying to be overly masculine and tamper down her emotions of losing her husband, she used the platform that she has gained as a woman in technology, a leader in technology, and a woman, and she used that to share her grief. She used that to say that I can still be feminine, I can still be a woman and still be extremely successful in technology. And I think that's something that we also need to convey to our young women, that if you're going to make it in technology, yes, you have to be tough, yes, you have to be educated, and yes, you have to be competitive to a point, but you don't have to lose your femininity. You don't have to lose who you are as a person to survive in this industry. We've done it, and I like to think that we have still held on to ourselves as a woman.
Tracee, I'd like to relate to what you said to what you referred to with regard to her not losing herself. I think with the young people watching the reality, which is really not reality, the reality shows, they see themselves there.
Exactly.
But they don't see themselves in the technology framework.
That's right.
So
that's
one
right.
of the things that I told this story that I just told you about, the visit to the school, to one of the students, the child had raised her hand. She said, Miss De Vaughn, why don't you just go ahead and stay there? Never crossed my mind until that child said that. So I'm pointing out that when you get to a situation where they say you don't belong, you may not belong here,
Right.
put in your mind that you do. Because that's what that CEO did. She
Yes,
because
she
she
did.
could have
Yes, she
taken
did.
herself out of this and compartmentalized yourself and then taken herself out.
Exactly.
So we have to not compartmentalize ourselves, but let ourselves be, and go back to that 2-word thing, the mindset that you have, that you were when you were alone, you move that thing forward. And that's
right.
what she was doing.
And that's
she was
what she
just
did.
moving forward.
She did. And I think that it showed, her fan base just increased exponentially, because here you saw this woman who has to be tough every day to help run Facebook, right? One of the big giants in social media, if not the biggest still. And she lost her husband, and she had to deal with that, and she shared that grief publicly, and she still was able to continue on in her position at Facebook. So I think that sends a really important message. Speaking of young people, and speaking of what you've done to help shape these young minds in the digital space, I want to share a video
Okay.
that I believe you had something to do with.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
I want to share this really quick because I want you to see how Deborah is using her power and influence as a woman in technology to shape some young minds.
Do they have audio out there?
Okay, I think we may have lost our sound on that video, so I apologize, everyone. We're going to have to play that another time. But Deborah, if you could tell us really quickly in the time we have remaining, I was trying to fit that in before we ran out of time today, but if you can tell us a little bit about that video, that was a high school competition.
If you want, you can run it, and I'll give you some voiceover.
That's fine. If you could just tell us about,
Okay, well,
the
let me
competition
let me
itself.
tell you about the. I'm gonna back up. The BDPA, Black Data Processing Associates, is an organization that makes information technology skills available to high school students. We go far as back as 6th grade through high school, and so what this does is get the students in a mind. I'm sorry, I used the word.
Yeah, we're using that word a lot today. Mindset, yes.
That they have the ability to have the skills that they need for when they leave school. When I say leave school, when someone graduates from high school, they don't have to continue on to college. But should they want to, this is one of the skills that they could have that's going to assure that they would be able to have a good employee, as well as the possibility of that employer paying for their school.
Wow.
So,
hey, Deborah, I'm going to have to interrupt you just really quick because we have a caller, and we want, in the time remaining, we don't have a lot of time, but we want to get this caller in. Caller, go right ahead with your question.
Hi, really enjoying the program tonight.
Thank you.
One of the questions I have for Ms. De Vaughn is, what are you doing as an educator to encourage families to get involved and to encourage girls' interest in computing? What are some of the techniques or strategies that you've employed?
thank you for the question.
That's a great question.
Well, okay, well, with BDPA, what we did was when we did the recruiting was maybe a 2-week span, and then the culminating activity of people coming together was the families coming and meeting the instructors, as well as getting a perspective on what your child might look like down the road.
That's right.
And at the time when we did this really big push, because I think we contacted about 100 students to sign up, and we had about 60-some to show up for the introduction, and with the attrition we had about 20. But the point of it is to make it a family thing, is to make it a family situation, and not so much for the child being off on their own.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you for that question, caller. We appreciate that. And Deborah, we are almost out of time.
Wow.
It went quick, didn't it?
Yes, it
yeah,
did.
and we
Yes,
haven't
it did.
even scratched the surface, everyone. But that's okay, because we will be talking more about women in technology in the coming weeks. But really, really quickly, again, I want to congratulate you, Deborah, not only on that beautiful Emmy over there that we shared earlier with everyone, but also for being one of our 2017
thank you.
BIBO
Thank you.
Award
Thank you.
honorees. And
Thank
we're
you.
excited. We're going to be honoring you and some other incredible women on September the 23rd. And I'm going to put up really quick before we run out of time, really quick, how you can get involved in our BIBO Foundation and get involved in our STEM initiatives, but also you can get involved in the BIBO Awards. And really quickly, there you go. Just go to our website, thebibofoundation.org/on-air. Send us an email at info@thebibofoundation.org or call us at 1-800-365-3203. Deborah, any final words as we wrap it up for tonight?
Well, all I can say is for parents, tell your children that you love them. I mean, it's one of those. It's one of those things where when the kids gets to a point where they've pulled away, and all the things that you've said to them, they'll remember. It'll come back. But the one that really strikes their heart, so that they'll really get grounded in understanding who they are and what they're about, is that their parents love them.
Absolutely.
I tell the kids, I says, your parents love you so much. If you went home and said, Mommy, Daddy, they say I need an extra eyeball. I said, baby, you need an extra eyeball. Hold on just a second. Here, take this to school. This is what you need. You need this. Mommy, daddy got it for you. Parents, tell your children
Yes.
that you love them.
That's extremely
Over and over
important.
again. I don't care how old they are.
Yeah, extremely important.
Yes.
And again, we will be back in the coming weeks. That's sage advice. And our young women need to hear that too, so that
Very
we can
much so,
definitely
especially
instill the
from
confidence in them, especially as they fight the waters of women in technology. We're out of time, everyone. We are going to be back next week, and next week we're going to be talking to someone who is fighting global hunger. And yes, she is a 2017 BIBO Awards honoree. Thank you for tuning in, and we look forward to being here again with you next week. Thank you.